Good evening and welcome to America's News HQ. I'm Parker Jackson. Thank you for joining us on our inaugural episode of the show here on Newsmax. For those of you who do not know me, I am Parker Jackson. I have been in journalism since 2020 and I've hosted many shows such as America's News HQ. Over the next few weeks, we will be with you every night talking about the latest headlines here in NUSA. AP. And we'll be interviewing some of the biggest names in the community. Coming up on the show tonight, all of the latest news headlines as well as a panel discussion with Democratic Senator and Alexander Hawk and Independent Travis Daniels. America's News HQ starts right now. Hello and welcome to the show. Let's get into our top headlines tonight. The 2008 election is over with Democratic President Barack Obama being elected as President of the United States. Barack won by a landslide against Republican candidate Zachary Berger. The final electoral vote count was 379 votes for Obama and 159 votes for Berger. This election was a shock to both Republicans and Democrats, with Obama winning mainly Republican states like Florida and the majority of the East and West Coast, turning blue as well. Around 9:30 EST last night, it was projected that Barack Obama would be elected as president and the first African American president in our history. A few hours later, he came out and delivered his acceptance speech, with it moving people across the world. There is no doubt that his presidency will not be easy, but with many things going on in the world right now. Stay tuned to Newsmax as we continue our coverage of his transition and presidency. Turning now to another story that is breaking overnight, Senator Connie Rubirusa was blacklisted from AP after she sent out a highly inappropriate video of an Army veteran committing self-harm on himself. When she sent out this video, he was met with a lot of backlash, leading to her blacklist. It is unknown at this moment if the former senator will be able to appeal the blacklist. Stay with Newsmax for more information. The stock market released a statement on the state of the economy a few months ago, and it does not look like America is heading in the right direction. In the statement, it stated, "The United States and many countries in Europe are now experiencing one of the strongest economic recessions in modern history. The United States reported a record job loss, nearly 1.2 million last month, exceeding the unemployment rate of 10.2%, mounting the record surpass from President Reagan's unemployment rate. Inflation of the United States has exceeded 4% by increasing to 4.3%, decreasing the value of the US dollar. Rent is back up for the last month and has reached $15 million, affecting low-income and middle-class families. The Federal Reserve Chairman released a statement slamming the inaction of Congress and of the President's failure to handle the economic crisis, blaming both parties of inaction causing fuel emissions to fire of a global recession. Stay tuned for more updates of the economic recession. And that's going to wrap up all of your top 3 news headlines for the night. Coming up in just a few moments, Travis Daniels, an independent, and Alexander Hawkey, the Democratic senator, will join with me to talk in depth about the latest news headlines. America's News HQ will be right back. All right, perfect. Welcome back to America's News HQ. I am now joined by Alexander, Hawk and Travis Daniels. Alexander, of course, a well-known Democratic senator, and then you have Travis Daniels, an independent, sitting with me at the table tonight. Now, I want to start with our first topic of the night, and that's going to be Florida. So, in the election, we saw Florida turn blue, which was a shock to the Republican Party. So, I'm curious, Alexander, what was the emotion when you saw Florida turn blue, and how do you think the Democratic Party pulled off turning a really known red state blue?
Well, I think the as for the emotional side of it, it was really something spectacular to see, and as a good many people across the commentating world have once said, it's probably something we will never see again. As for why it happened, I don't think it had anything to do with the Democrats. I think this was the Republicans' game to win, and they blew it. They blew it big time, and that allowed the Democrats to win.
Now, Travis, you're a Republican here, or sort of an independent as well. So, how did you feel when you saw that state turn blue for the first time, really, and just shocking everybody?
Man, this is the lovely thing about democracy. The people have the choice to pick who they want to lead the country. And Florida chose Democrat, and Democrat won the White House. So it was the people's choice and they chose blue. So there's nothing to argue about here. That was the people's choice. That's democracy.
You're right, and y'all both kind of came together, I guess, and made this assumption that y'all feel that the Republican Party was not as strong in this election, hinting why what happened to Florida. So, do y'all have anything to say to the Republicans about how their party is, and just give us a few examples and stuff of how you feel about the Republican Party state right now, and where you think it will be in, let's say, 3 years from now, when when the next election comes around.
Well, at least from a competitor's point of view, as someone who is in the opposite party, I think we do need a seriously competitive party to make sure our democracy stays just that, a democracy. Um, as I stated earlier, I truly do believe the Republican Party is in shambles, and I think that is due to the fact that in the past month they've gone through five different chairpersons. So I think they really, really just need to focus on getting in a good, solid leadership team, and then just work from there.
You know,
I really do hope they come back strong in 2012.
You bring up a good point with leadership. I feel like the Republican Party has been lacking leadership in, of course, the election after we just got whooped by the Democrats just by a landslide. And I also feel like we just did not have a strong base. We really need to build up our base more in order to get more Republicans into our base and bring them in instead of maybe just having a few. Because right now, I would say the overwhelming majority of people in AP are Democrats. And you also did bring up a good point about having the competition between the Republicans and the Democrats, because, like you said, there's no democracy between the two. Now, Travis, how do you feel about the state of the Republican Party right now?
The state of the Republican Party is about as bad as the current economic crisis. It is terrible. And, I'm just going off of my personal point of view. There needs to be variety. There can't just be straight Democrat demolishing every single year. Of course, it needs to be the Republican leader as the president of the United States. But, like Alexander said, there has to be good leadership within the party for someone, of that level of skill can come in and lead. If we don't have good leadership, we're not going to be able to find people that actually be able to lead effectively and win an election.
Now, you bring up a good point, and I want to point out somebody else that sent us a statement earlier about Florida. Ronald Phillips of Florida said he's a Republican senator, I believe, and he said that I believe the 2.8% will not be happening again. Florida should stay Republican. The history of Florida since the 1980s towards 2008 has stayed Republican. I hope for it to become Republican once again in the future. So now I guess my question to you guys is, do you think that Florida will turn red again in the next election, or do you think it will stay blue?
I think that in the 2010 and the 2012 elections, if the Republicans get their act together and just really focus on their own party, don't worry about one upping the Democrats. They just really need to focus on fixing their own issues. If they get all that done, I think they have a very good shot of taking it back.
What about you, Travis? What do you think about Florida?
Absolutely not. if Barack Obama comes in and absolutely demolishes the presidency in a good way, of course, he comes in and does what he said he's going to do, everything he said he's going to do. I could see Florida potentially going blue again, next elections, you know?
I'm not sure if I agree with that. I think that this time we just did not have a strong base, but I do feel like in the future Florida will turn red again. I'm not sure I agree that just because one person came in and said, "Oh yeah, we're gonna change it blue this time," I don't think I'm pretty sure it'll be red next time, and that's just my opinion. I mean, I don't see where that would even happen. It might have just been one time, you know what I mean? But I mean, we'll have to see.
If I can just throw in here real quick, I think it was really just a matter of circumstance that Barack Obama was the man to do it, and then you also had the exact moment where the GOP was in shambles, so it was perfect timing, perfect coincidence, whatever. And if the GOP don't fix it, then I do agree with Travis. It'll happen again. But if they fix it, I think they do have a shot.
Yeah, I
I
fully agree with
agree.
that.
I
Yeah.
agree with that. Like we all agree, right now it's up to the GOP. Honestly, if they want Florida, if they want all these other key states that Republicans usually have, it's up to the GOP to get their act together, get strong, and come out in the next election and win. And that's basically the way I see it. Let's talk about the recession right now. So, as I stated before, the recession is starting to happen again. It says inflation in the United States has exceeded 4% and is increasing 4.3%, decreasing the value of the US dollar. So, how do y'all feel about recession? How do you feel President Barack Obama will address this recession coming into his presidency?
Well, personally, this isn't really an area of expertise for me, but I believe that if anyone can get us out of this recession, it will be Barack Obama. I think he's got the drive. I think he's got the motivation. I think he's got the ideas to do it, and I think it's just
So, what do you think he is doing he's going to do differently than the past administration to address the recession?
I think the past administration was more focused on tax cuts for people who didn't really need it, and I think the Obama administration will be looking more at job opportunities. I know Republicans like to dish on welfare programs, but welfare programs for those who actually need it. Focus on improving Social Security. The issues that really matter to people.
Now, Travis, how do you feel about the recession? How do you feel Obama will handle it coming into his presidency?
Well, coming from a Roblox standpoint, this Roblox politics, correct? So, it's just a form of activity. We need an active president that'll actually, work within the group because the last president was barely active within the group. He only came on, a few days out of the week. I see Barack Obama, he came in and he had a great campaign. We can't lie on that. He had a fabulous campaign, all the rally places were done, exponential.
Avoiding us for what is it, 7 years now? Like that is 7 years too long. People, come on. And I think after that, it'll be fixing the American economy and getting us back on the right track.
Yeah, and I can see where that's coming from as well. So, how do you think he's going to try to address terrorism? I mean, that's the main thing that's been upcoming. Of course, in Iraq and Afghanistan are getting unstabler. So, how do y'all think that he's going to address that? Travis, we'll start with you.
Well, like Alexander says, I'm not an expertise on this, but if he wants to do it, we're talking about Osama bin Laden right now. We're talking about the full blown deal.
Yes.
All right. Well, if he's gonna want to address it, he needs to first take out the leader. That's just the bottom line. If you want to get someone out, you need to take out the leader because they don't have anybody to lead them, tell them what to do and everything, unless they want to form another leader. But without a leader, you have no one to tell you what to do. So he needs to just kill that man. He needs to pay for what he did on 9/11.
I think that's something that all the American people can agree on right now. Again, America's always a divided country. There's always something dividing us. And I think the one thing that all Americans can agree on is that America needs justice from 9/11. If means killing Osama bin Laden, then that means killing Osama bin Laden. Now, I'm going to ask the same question to you, Alexander. How do you feel about his terrorism policies? And also, do you feel that that one of his prime things that he needs to get done while he's in office is going to be the assassination of Osama bin Laden and bringing justice back to America?
Yeah, I I'm not sure I would say assassination, but either capture or kill, depending on what the situation is. And I think the lesson we need to learn from the first time that allowed the events of 9/11 to happen is we need to sort our intelligence community issues. We have agencies not talking to each other, agencies not sharing information. And that's, I think, something that he'll have to address when he officially becomes president. But I think it should be a top priority for the administration.
Yeah, I would say that terrorism is going to have to be, again, another top policy for the administration. But again, let's talk about more general stuff. What do you feel like some of his biggest things that he's going to have to deal with becoming going into president? So, what is he going to have to deal with, such as terrorism? What are the other things that y'all believe that the big issues that he's going to have to deal with when he is placed into that position and put into office?
Well, I guess the big one that we've all been talking about recently is the economic recession. He's going to need to bail out the banks. He's going to need to bail out millions of Americans who got screwed over by the banks. So that'll be the big one on him. And then I think from there, probably taxes, and then after that, job security, because those are all fallouts from the economic recession. So that's going to be the biggest one on his plate right now.
And how do y'all feel his side, or how do you feel he will be on taxes? Do you think that his taxes are going to stay the same, kind of like the old president tried, or do you think that he will bring in new ideas to address taxes? That's for any one of you if y'all would like to answer.
Well, I'd hope he bring in new ideas because clearly the last ideas didn't work. So, if he's gonna want to make major change, he's gonna need to come in here and, possibly rewrite half of the things that, the last president did.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. Now, I want to just go ahead and get into some final thoughts here. So, I want everybody to give like an explanation and then rate how you believe President Barack Obama will do in his first term, and just rate him out of 10. And we're just going to take a little, kind of like a game here. So, rate how you think his administration will do in the next 4 years, 1 out of 10, and then give just like a brief explanation why. So, we can start with you, Alexander.
I'm gonna say an 8 out of 10, solely because it is all dependent on how he handles Osama bin Laden and how he handles the fallout from the economic recession. If he handles those well, I believe he will be one of the best presidents we have ever had. But if he fails to get those crises under control, then he will be looked on as not a favorable president, and odds are he will not get reelected if he can't get those two things done.
Alright, so you're going to say 8 out of 10 as a final. Okay, what about you, Travis?
Well, I'm gonna give him about a 7.5. Every president is gonna make a mistake, and what that mistake is may alter you having a second term. Sorry about that. I, you know, mispronounced that. So basically, he is here to represent the American people. Put the party system aside right now. We are representing the American people. And if he can come in and do just that, I feel like he would have a great presidency and possibly raise his number. But considering how a presidency usually goes, you have media against each other or whatever, and I'm saying 7.5, and I'm standing by that because I'm sure they'll find something on him that'll possibly alter the next election or have people lose vote. That's how democracy works. You find as much information as you can to get him out of office.
Yeah, and I can see where you're coming from. I feel like no president will ever be a 10 out of 10. There's always going to be one issue that pisses off the people or pisses off one side or the other side. And there's always going to be some big thing that happens during your presidency. We see this every 4 years, something major happens and people take sides. And I think that's why nobody can ever be a perfect president, because you're always having to make constant decisions that might upset other people. As far as my score goes, I'm going to say a 7.5, and I agree with you, Travis. I do feel like that number could boost if something happens. All right, everybody. Hello, can y'all hear me? Hello? All right, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, everybody, it's now time for our final statements. We're going to start with. Oh, okay, yeah.
Hey, I just want to say great job so far, everyone. You guys are doing fabulous.
Yeah.
All right, 1 minute, guys. All right, ready, Michael? Welcome back to America's News HQ. It's now time for our final statements of the night, and I'm going to let you go first, Travis. Give us your final statement of the night.
Well, I'm looking, to see nothing but the best from Barack. I wish him nothing but the best, of course. And, I thank you guys so much for having me on the show tonight. It has been an honor to be here with you all. You guys have been great. And I hope to be here again. Thank you guys so much.
Alexander?
Yeah, I'd also like to wish Barack Obama and his whole administration best of luck in the next 4 years. I look forward to working with them in any way I can. Thanks for having us. It's been a pleasure. Yeah.
Alright, guys, my final statement tonight is just Barack Obama, you're going to walk into some challenges in your presidency, but I mean, we'll see how you do with the best, and I hope you do the best of your ability with them. Again, congratulations on becoming president in a landslide, and I cannot wait to see what you have in store for us as the American people. That is going to do it for our inaugural episode of America's News HQ. I'm Parker Jackson. Coming up next is Newsmax Now with Michael R. Smith. Have a great night, everybody.